Bow quickly and
Yeah. All right. Welcome to another Dojo Tuesday, man. I'm really excited. And I know I say that every week, but today's topic is so cool because I think it's going to send your mind in a different direction. And that's all we need, right? When we have these beliefs that we think over and over and over, and we're like, all we need is that one little something that's going to go, oh, maybe instead of going left all the time, you might want to try going right. And that's what we're going to do today as we talk about living unapologetically. So, without further ado, I am going to share my screen, and I I have to tell you, do you guys
I
love
love
this
this.
picture as much as I do?
Yes.
Because when I was looking for something that says, okay, what is someone living unapologetically? I saw this picture and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. I love this picture. I mean, does this person look like they apologize for anything in their life? No way, man. And I felt like, oh, I almost wanted to like print it out and put it on my wall, like, yes, that is me. That's the way I want to live. So before we get into this today, I want to ask, does anyone have any questions on last week's topic of the art of mental self-defense? We went through a lot last week. Some stuff came up for some of you. And is there anything that you were percolating on through the week that you want to suggest, ask, anything like that right now?
No.
No? Quiet?
We'll get into it. Woo!
All right. So we'll get into today, living unapologetically. But before we get into today's topic, I'd like to set the mood for you. Just like candlelight and soft music sets the mood for romance, I've chosen something from Marianne Williamson to set the mood for today's topic on our deepest fear. And normally I would never read to you from the screen, but I am going to read this because I read this almost every day. And so today's going to be my day of reading this. Our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence liberates others.
Love
Can
that.
I just have a big, yeah, man?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you. Now, I want to share something that, because I think one of the things that really resonates with me, I will never forget where I heard this for the very first time. It was years ago. It had to be in the 80s because it was on a VCR tape. So that tells you it was a really long time ago. And I was watching the movie Aquila and the Bee. Have any of you ever watched that movie?
I've seen it, yes.
Okay, so do you recall where her teacher has her go up to a plaque on the wall, and this is the plaque on the wall that he has her read. Now, I had no idea who it was from, who the author was. I think a lot of people think it was from Nelson Mandela, and it might even have been portrayed as that in the movie. But this is how much this impacted me. I just want you to know. So what I did, remember, I'm watching this on a VCR. So I paused the VCR and I sat as close to my TV as I could, and I wrote this down by watching the picture on the wall. And then it wasn't until a little bit later, that I started waking up and understanding, about the bigger picture of life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this was so impactful for me. And then so I can tell you exactly where I was when I very first heard this, watching a videotape of Aquila and the Bee. And I want this to set the mood for you today because we're talking about living unapologetically. So when you think about your deepest fears, that is exactly what keeps you from living unapologetically. Because when you're living your life unapologetically, it's about embracing who you truly are without seeking approval or validation from others.
Mm-hmm.
It involves confidently pursuing your goals, expressing your authentic self, and standing firm in your beliefs, regardless of societal expectations or external judgments. Now, here are some key aspects of living life unapologetically. Authenticity, being true to yourself, your values and your desires, rather than conforming to what others expect of you or trying to fit in and be like everybody else. We see so much about bullying and this person's different, and if only we could understand that it's our difference that makes us so special, because we were all the same on the other side of the veil. That's why we came here, to have a karmic experience and do what we're doing. So if we try to fit in, are we really doing what we came here to do? I think not. Confident, trusting in your decisions and abilities, and not letting self-doubt or criticism deter you from your path. Now, that's easier said than done, right? Because we can get up in the morning and think, woohoo, I'm getting into my day. I'm going to teach this. I'm going to share this message. I'm going to do this. And then all it takes is one negative comment on social media, or your mom rubs you the wrong way, or whatever. Your kids are doing something and you're like, boo, 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 boo. So that is allowing others to dictate your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And then boundaries. Respect your personal boundaries and do not allow others to dictate your actions or invade your personal space. Oh my gosh, we all need to hang this sign somewhere in our house. Boundary, boundary, boundary. And it's not about keeping people out. It's about how you are existing among everyone else. Because remember, we are all one. Self-respect, valuing yourself and your needs, and never apologizing for prioritizing your well-being. Man, if there's something you need to do for yourself today, do it. I can tell you that this past Sunday, I read, sat outside, on my patio, and had some tea and looked at the trees and listened to music. I was jiving with my 50s music man. And then I came in and I watched the movies. I didn't look at my phone. I didn't look at technology. And I didn't feel bad at all. I didn't feel like I was apologizing or, oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. I made it a day of not shooting all over myself.
Yes.
Courage, taking risks and making bold choices that align with your true self, even when it means facing fear or opposition. Now, that's a really loaded sentence, because what is true self?
Mm-hmm.
True self is your most alignment with your highest self, your God self, your inner being, whatever it is that you call it. When you are most in alignment, you feel on top of the world, right? You feel like partying like purple, like I like to say. Party like purple to me means you feel wanted, you feel part of something bigger than you are, and you're happy. And the only way you know how to describe it is party like purple, man. So when you are in alignment with true self, you feel like you could party like purple all day long. The only thing that's going to keep you from that is yourself. Independent, relying on your inner guidance and strength to navigate life instead of depending on the opinion or approval of others. Because after all, you guys, we've been striving for independence since we could crawl, walk, and feed ourselves, right? We've been on this mission like, oh gosh, today I rolled over. Today I'm going to sit up. And we kept going from there because innately we knew this was forward momentum. This was forward direction. And we have that now, that inner guidance in us now. So only we can decide, oh, I'm not going to follow it. I love this picture. Living unapologetically is about fully embracing and expressing who you are, and doing so with pride and self-assurance. Do you freaking think that the peacock apologizes when he opens up his? I don't think so. You know, like somebody says, dude, you're in my way. I was walking down the sidewalk and you just opened up and no. Well, of course, I don't think the peacock thinks anything, but you know, you get my drift, right? No, no apologizing. So every time you think about not apologizing, think about this peacock. Think about how you are opening your plumes and you are shining your light and your colors and your vibrancy and who you are unapologetically. Because it's a commitment to living a life that's true to you, free from unnecessary apologies or justifications. And that's just about being yourself. It's about being yourself. Who do you want to be today? We get to wake up every morning and ask ourselves, who do I want to be today? Every week we touch briefly on the library of our mind. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about how we come up with some of the beliefs that keep us from living unapologetically. We don't even stop to consider the number of times we're taught to ask for forgiveness. We're taught to apologize for something that others see as any kind of infraction to the rules. And when I looked at this, it's like, she's saying, what's wrong with you? Why did you do that? You know, kids do what they do because they're curious or for whatever reason. But then it's the adults in our life that say, you know, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. And so because of that, there's nothing wrong with learning a lesson. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with learning how to be safe, but it's about trying to conform. When we try to make our children conform, and we try to make them conform because we're afraid. We don't know what's going on. We're like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing this right. So instead of looking in the mirror and saying, am I doing everything for myself? You know, we kind of tend to blame, and then kids take that on. So we were a kid at one time. What have you taken on? All the things that you took on are in the library of your mind. We're taken to church and we're told to ask for forgiveness or we can't enter the kingdom of heaven, because no one ever told us the kingdom of heaven already resides within us. Think about that. I don't know about you guys, but when I was little, church was really a scare tactic for us. We would go every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday, and more, I don't know, all the time. And every Sunday, we'd have to go up to the altar and, you know, you're a little kid and you have all these people murmuring over you, forgive her, Lord, forgive her. Why don't you confess? What do you want to do? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't think I did anything wrong. I'm trying so hard to be good, but maybe I did do something wrong because you guys all must know what you're talking about. So maybe I did. And then we start to make crap up in our head. And then when we do make it up, what happens? Then we are rewarded for making the crap up in our head. So we get used to that. We get used to making crap up in our head. I'm just going to say crap because you guys use the word that you want. But it took me so long to understand that, oh my gosh, just because I chose to do this or chose to do this doesn't mean that I'm going to be punished. You know, we were never taught, most of us, I won't say everybody, that the kingdom of heaven resides within each one of us. Don't you think it would have been a completely different thought process for us as we experience these things? Because the law of gravity and the law of attraction comes from the same source energy. And from birth, we're taught by others about these laws. The difference is when we're taught about gravity, no one ever told us that if you throw something up, it's going to come back down to you because you're being punished. We were never taught to fear the law of gravity. It just is, it's universal law. But we were sure taught to fear the law of attraction. We were sure taught that. Maybe I shouldn't say we, but I'm guessing if you're here, you understand all of this. So something for you to think about, because this stuff in the library of our mind, you guys, it comes from somewhere. The children are taught to respect their elders, even if it goes against what they feel is right, because this is what the adults teaching them were taught, instead of how to pay attention to their internal guidance. Now, I'll tell you guys, like, how old was I? I don't know, 12, 13. And my father sent me to his friend's house. I won't go through all the details or whatever, but bottom line is my dad's friend kind of wanted to see what it would be like to be with 13-year-old Nancy. So my dad put me in that position. Well, when the man came home, I knew something was really wrong. I ran in the bathroom, I locked the door, I pushed out the screen in the bathroom, and I ran all the way home. And I got the beating of my life for messing up the screen in the bathroom. So you see, it's that we know, we have this internal guidance system. But when someone's always telling us that we don't have what it takes, or that we're wrong, or that we need to be punished, we don't know our worth. And when we don't know our worth, when we can't accept how valuable we are, we grow up believing we have no worth. And when we grow up believing we have no worth, we apologize for everything. We have to be conditioned to accept the negative of who we are, and we are the only one who has the power to embrace the positive of who we are by living unapologetically. And living unapologetically, how we will get our message out, share our products and services, build healthier personal and professional relationships, love our bodies, and exceed our earning potential, which, hallelujah, it's time, right? Absolutely. So, Joy, I know you have to leave early, and I know your mind is going to be so full.
I'm so glad I came. I just love this. Listen, I'd love to be a part of the conversation, but I can't. I have to get hubby out. But let me tell you, spot on. I loved every bit of it. And the picture, I want the picture. I'll see you guys next week.
So I have like notes and like to spark conversation through today's conversation, but I don't, this isn't about me. This is about me introducing a topic and then seeing where it's going to go through all of us. So somebody else, take it away.
You know what I like?
What?
I really like the way it just lit you up. I mean, you could tell, whoa, this woman is really, really, you enjoyed it, you loved it, and you had lots to tell us. And I just like the part about the peacock. Yeah, you open up, because I've seen real peacocks, and they're beautiful, and they do it unapologetically. That's what we need to do, is display ourselves and say, here I am.
And you know what, Maria? I love that. And there's a peacock in my neighborhood. He just walks around like yard to yard and like he owns the place, which he probably does. And when I go on my walks and I pass him, I always stop and I look and I'm like, oh, open up, because I want to get a picture of you in full plumage. And you know what he does? He looks at me like this. He doesn't open up. He doesn't. And isn't that like so cool? Because we can be proud if we're opening up, and we can be proud if we're saying, yeah, I don't want to. I'm just going to hang out today. I mean, everything has two ends, right? Everything there's an opposite for everything.
Yeah, no matter where you're at, you do it unapologetically, whether you want to be on display or if you just want to sit back.
Exactly. And I guarantee you, after today's conversation, you will see in the next 24 hours, every person you talk to, because you're going to be looking for it, you're going to notice how many times you hear someone apologize. I mean, we're in the line at the grocery store, right? And somebody bumps into us. And what do? We turn, we go, oh, excuse me. I was standing here. But I apologize. And
Right. Your
I
way.
mean, think about it. In how many times do you go in and you know, maybe you're returning something at a store, or I don't know, you have a bad experience at a store, and the customer service person or the clerk comes up to you and goes, oh, I'm so sorry you're feeling that way, because that's the way their management teaches them to talk to other people. Well, I don't know about you, but if I were a clerk at a store and somebody came in and was like in my face, the last thing I'm going to do is stand there and go, I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way, because I have nothing to feel sorry for. But then I would get written up, and then I would be afraid, oh, if I don't do what they told me to do, then I'm going to get fired or written up. And so everything is fear-based,
Yeah.
right? We're so afraid of the hierarchy, and the only hierarchy is right here in our mind. That's it. It's what we're telling ourselves.
When you showed the inside of the church, it's the shame. Oh, I'm not enough. Oh, I'm basically a sinner. You know, I have to keep going, cancel, cancel, cancel. But that whole thing is, and what I'm noticing is you're talking about this conversation, everybody's coming out full out. Like Maria, you're present. You're just like, whoa, you know, it's just fabulous. And, you know, everyone's getting excited and coming out full out as themselves. But I thought, you know, yeah, they teach you to be ashamed and to figure out what's wrong. You know, I've spent my whole life wondering, now what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Well, let me fix, what is there to fix? And the problem is there's nothing to fix. It's
Yeah.
just to grow. It's just to grow and expand and keep learning. It's just stunning. This is a really important conversation.
Well, and it's so important for us to step back and not dwell on, why did I take this on? Because then you just keep going down that negative road of frustration.
Yeah,
But I think the more powerful question is, am I ready to let it go?
yeah,
And when you say, yeah, I'm ready to let it go, and then when you can have that conversation and then go, let what go? Oh, we're not talking about that anymore. Remember, we let it go. Oh, yeah, okay, so there's nothing to let go. And then we realize, like, it wasn't even there. It was never there to begin with.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah. Or how can I grow beyond it? Yeah, just
Yeah,
moving forward. Yeah,
yeah. And then that takes me back to our deepest fear. I love that saying, that phrase, that what chapter, I don't know, paragraph. Because I have conversations with myself and I say, oh, so am I putting my faith in fear, or am I putting my faith in who I am? And then I stop and think about, well, who am I? Who am you, Nancy? Are you this fearful being? No, I don't want to be. Okay, well, you don't want to be. You're the only one who can choose not to be. So, you guys, where do you think we, because you know that this conversation we're having here today, right now, we don't even have to be talking to other people. We don't even have to have anyone else in this group today. Based on the conversation that we're having, we are raising the vibrational energy everywhere.
mm-hmm,
So how can we have a conversation for the next, 20, 30 minutes or so, and like really put some positivity out into the universe about living unapologetically? And I kind of feel like it's especially for women, because I don't know about you, but I'm really, really sick and tired of the man bashing and I saw something, I don't really pay attention to the news or anything like that, but there was something that went through Facebook about some guy who gave a speech at a college, and he was talking about, I guess, his wife. I don't know. I don't remember what she did, but it sounded like she had a degree or something, and then she decided to not pursue her degree and to be a stay-at-home mom and caregiver and housewife. And he was talking about how grateful he is. And there was a lot of negativity around that. And the thing is, one might say, if he is forcing her to be that way, then maybe there's a discussion to be had. But bottom line, this is about the two of them and what they decide is best in their life. And you can take that with anyone, like husband and wife, they get married, and right away, now you've got beliefs of two families coming together. How do you do this? How do you make this happen? And so it's always about, like, what are you taking on from other people? And really, it's about stepping back and saying, well, this is how we've decided to do it. And you're going to get so much pushback from both sides of the family. And then you try to placate both sides of the family. And then what are you doing? So you're really apologizing and you're not living authentically in it. And I think I was a force of nature for my mother-in-law. Lord knows she didn't care for me at all. But had I known then what I know now, I would have been, what's bigger than a force of nature? I would have been the tsunami and her, I don't know. So what are your thoughts, guys? Bring this forward. What's going through your head?
Maria,
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just thinking what she's saying.
are you? It feels so freeing because women we've come into this world and it's like fish in the water. They just, well, what's water? We come into a culture that for thousands of years have put women in a subservient situation. I mean, they stay home with the children and they're the maids and but we cower. I've noticed it, because I've worked with women for a long time, and I don't want to make more money than my husband. I've run into that one over and over, and then a woman starts excelling and doing stuff, and then she minimizes herself again and stops doing it because it's interesting. So I think women are the largest unpaid workforce in the world, and if you paid a woman, a wife, for doing all of the things that she does. I mean, 20 years ago, we added it up and it was $120,000 a month. I mean, a year. So it's got to be more than that now. So, and I don't know that women appreciate it, and I don't know that men really understand. Men don't understand. Pardon me?
Donna, though, I can see it. Okay, so I'm going to go back and say, from the time I was like, I don't know, very young, 10, 11, 12, 13, all I ever wanted was to get married, be a stay-at-home mom, have children, cook, clean. And I know that came from the chaos in my home. Like there was never any peace of mind or feeling safe. And so I feel like, looking back, I feel like the reason that was so important to me was, what I want more than anything is to get married. I had 3 requirements: that my husband never cheat on me, that he bring home a good living, and take care of us financially, and that what was the other one? That he never cheat on me, that and that he never hit us, that there was no physical violence in the house. Those were my 3 requirements. That's it. And I shared that years ago when I was giving a talk somewhere. And there was a guy in the audience, and afterwards he came up to me and he berated me in front of everyone, up and down, like, what is wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with a woman taking care of her family, and it's an important role. And the thing is it was obvious that he did not hear my message, because I was not saying ever that there was anything wrong with what I chose. What I was saying was, at the time, that was the only thing that I aspired to. Those were the only 3 things that I aspired to, because I had no idea that once I experienced that, that I would continue to grow and continue to grow and continue to grow. So, you know, for me, being a stay-at-home mom, it was like I just had this belief, no, I need to be a better mom than the mom I had. And the way to do that is to be home and be with my children, walk them to school every day, watch over them, make sure no bad guy comes within any distance of them. And when I have 2 daughters, when my oldest daughter started kindergarten, my youngest daughter, who's 18 months younger than her, we walked her to school every day. I helped in the class, and then we walked home every day, every day, every day. It was like that for I don't know how long, until one day her teacher said to me, you know, Nancy, the best thing you could do for her is to let her experience life without you for a little while. What? Are you kidding me? But thank goodness I listened. And the thing is that, wow, yeah, my daughter did deserve to start to understand who she was without me. But on the other hand, my youngest daughter, because she did go with me every day, and she was learning, she was taking all of this in, and she was like a brainiac in school. And, you know, by 1st grade, she was doing stuff that I'm like, where did you learn this? And she was just absorbing it. And, you know, then she got to a point where, I don't know, one day she told me she had a 4.25, I don't know, 4.5, I don't even remember, grade average. And I'm like, I thought 4.0 was the highest you can have. How can you have more than that? And she's like, because I'm in AP classes. And I'm like, what are AP classes? There was so much I didn't know. You know, there was just so much I didn't know. But the thing is that when we give women a hard time for wanting to be that stay-at-home mom or be that nurturer, in my opinion, if we would love on those women and say, I'm so happy for you that you're living the life you want to live. Now, if she's not being honest with herself and what she really wants is to be, you know, in the boardroom or in the sales, on the sales floor, and I don't know, selling Mercedes cars or something, that's on her, right? Because she's not speaking up. She's not being authentic. She's not living her life authentically. She's making herself small so that others can do what she thinks they need to do. So again, it's like, yes, we were taught that that's the direction to go, to be the wife, the homemaker, the homeowner. But I took pride in all of those things. And I really, I would like for us to find a way to express how absolutely okay it is for every woman to choose what she wants to choose, whether she wants to have children, not have children, whether she, you know, whatever. Because when you get down to it, every choice we make, we're the only ones who have to live with the fallout. We're the only ones who have to live with the circumstances. And I feel like I'd like to really share a message of permission for women to choose the life they want to live. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, I think it's absolutely imperative. And I was just kind of marveling. Now, I don't know the whole story, but the fact that you said that you wanted to take care of a family and a man and take care of the children, to have a man come up and criticize you for that and shame you for that is bizarre. You know, it's literally, he's reacting to something, but he's trying to push you back down, girl, you know?
Yeah.
There's that book, The Shock Collar, Down Girl, The Shock Collar of Misogyny. It's just like, who are you talking to? You're not talking to me. My reaction was, because I grew up in chaos as well, and I thought, well, I'm not doing this. Never in my life did I say, I'm not doing this, not getting married, not gonna do that. So I just never got married, but it was great, you know. I mean,
And
I
I
had
think
a good time. Pardon me?
what's so great about that is we both had like those chaotic childhoods,
Mhm.
Mine sent me in search of the peace I thought I never had, and yours sent you in search of I will never live like this again. And we lived different lives, and then yet we're here together doing this work together.
Do you know what? And it really is amazing. And I just want to share that. Was able to work through all of that, the chaos and the fear and the instant confusion and stuff that would hit with when you have complex PTSD, when you're growing up in that and you don't even know you doesn't even know. But I have been able to have one of the most amazing relationships that I've ever had. But it took me a while to grow into it and decide. And then I literally, this is a share just for somebody who's interested. I literally realized, I read Bruce Lipton's book about the honeymoon effect. And he said that cells, they're designed to come together and group together and work together. So we're designed to be in partnership with somebody. And I went, oh, I don't have to be the Lone Ranger anymore. I mean, this is, I'm in my 60s, late 60s at that point. And I just realized, well, how can I do that if I have such a negative reaction to the words home?
Yeah.
You know, it was like a reaction. I'm not doing that. So what I did was I redefined the word home for myself. I sat down and consciously I said, oh, what is home for me? And it was a place where I could heal and be safe and have all my feelings and just enjoy myself and go out in the world and make mistakes and to try new things and then come back and feel. And I wanted my relationship to be that way. And I wrote it down, what I wanted. And I want phenomenal sex. I wanted love. I wanted a man who actually wants to be in a relationship. What's that? And at the bottom, I just have to say this because it's so funny, because wasn't a whole big thing of things, but financially stable. You know, they do well with their own money. But at the bottom, I said, as a joke with God, I said, okay, and he likes to cook. And then out literally as I was doing the work, which was the whole other thing, all of a sudden someone showed up in my life who is all of that, and he loves to cook. I don't buy it. He gives me food. He brings food over. He washes the dishes, and he's fabulous. We have a great time. But the key is what is home for you? What is important for you to have at home? I still live by myself because I like to stay up all night and work, you know, and he likes to go to bed early and get up and work in the morning because of our different psyches, our schedules, or what we're doing. But so what is home for you that's going to help you grow into the rest of who you are? Because we can only bloom where we're planted and and you can only become more of your authentic self. A life trying to be somebody else, even though you do it really well, it's a life wasted. Back to
Oh my
you,
gosh, you Donna, as you've been talking, I just realized this is what I've been doing. I just like saw myself on that because I've been so listening to what you were saying, and I'm like, yep. And then I realized, like, oh my God, I'm like that doggy in the back of the car. Maria, what were you saying?
She really drew us in, both of you. But you know what? I think the reason we were all taught to be like, you know, like we have to listen to everybody, and we were taught to, you know, grow up, have baby, you know, get married, have babies, you know, cook, clean, and you know, be a good wife and all that, while the husband go gets a younger whatever, you know,
A younger model.
yeah, his secretary, whoever. But I think that stems back, when you think about it, before the 20th century, the men, I mean, it's just like recent, they had power over the women. It's like that was their property, just like they owned a slave. They were
Yes, bingo.
and you know, if you married a man and you had a dowry, and they, you know, your parents gave you all this money, it went to the man.
Yes.
And then if you got divorced, you had nothing unless he gave it to you. Which, what do you think? They're gonna give you something? No.
Yeah.
That's why, see, our last name, I found out, our last name is not Fontaine, it's Fountain. And the reason for that is because when my mother-in-law was married, she got divorced in the 50s. And at that time, you couldn't rent a house or rent a place unless your husband gave you permission. So they
Right.
were in Oklahoma City. So she moved back to California and she changed the name from Fountain to Fontaine, because I think Joan Fontaine at the time was very popular.
Yeah.
Fontaine. We're the only Fontaines in the whole family. Everybody's a fountain. And I found there way back. In fact, my husband is related to Douglas Edward, Douglas, Frederick Douglass. And but I think that's why, because back then men had property and women were the property, and we were, you know, we were just, you know, programmed that way because that's the way it was. But I'm so glad now that we have the Me Too movement, all these movements, women are speaking up. And finally, who was that? P. Diddy, they're coming out like he did this, he did that years ago, but still he did it. And it's coming up. Women are finally speaking up. They're not afraid to speak up, though it may be, what do they call that? Statute of limitation. The thing is out there, they know what he did, and look out. And I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that's going on. I'm really happy about that. I could, you know, tell you people who've done things to me, but it's like, nah, I won't jump on that. It's okay. But and I think that women are finally coming into their own.
Yeah, exactly. We're
It's
realizing that
great.
we're not property, we're not chattel, we're not, I don't know.
Service, we're not servicing everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
women lose themselves servicing everybody and they drain themselves. You know, I talk to, women with families in their prime, they have zero time to themselves. Maybe after everybody goes to sleep, and the man, if they're watching TV and, oh, it's time to go to bed, the guy goes to sleep. Tell me, what does the woman do?
yeah. She
She
packs
spends
lunches
another
and does the
hour
dish.
cleaning up the thing, and she does this. Oh my God! And I've got a little bit I've got to do here, and let me finish all this, and she goes to sleep, and the guy's snoring.
Even if the women, they both work, the man works, she comes home and that's why they say a woman's work is never done. Because he comes home and relaxes, takes his shoes off, kicks
Yeah.
back, falls asleep. She has to make dinner, put food on the table, wash and take care of the kids. Then when they get up, she's got to get the kids together, make breakfast and all that. So she's like 24 hours, where a man is only like 8 hours of work, 8 hours at home, 8 hours sleep. And
I remember when I was interviewing, there's this wonderful thing called #LikeAGirl, and it's about a girl getting to puberty and how she gets uncomfortable, and she's treated like a little, like she's stupid or something. And if you go out and look at it, just Google a #LikeAGirl. It's actually spectacular. It changed the way people look at young girls and women, young girls. And so, but I was thinking about, #LikeAWoman. And I was asking questions of women. And one woman said, she was in her 60s. She was trying to get a divorce. And she's somewhere up in Alaska. And she said, I thought I married a partner, and he thought he got a wife.
Yeah.
She lived with that all of her life. And so what is a wife? This is a real important conversation, because women are the doorway. I call it the doorway to heaven. Everything, the creation comes through them. And there was a time over 3,000 years ago when women were worshipped for this. It was awe-inspiring because men didn't know they had anything to do with it. Literally, over 3,000 years ago, they was just like, oh, these women are, it all comes out of them. So we get to redefine that.
Yeah.
And notice when we're triggered to go, oh, I'm sorry, to minimize ourselves.
Yeah.
I think this is a very profound and important conversation, Nancy, for all women. And I think it's hilarious as well.
I know, it's like I had those 3 qualities when I got married. And then when my girls were in grade school, then I took a part-time job, just like 2 hours, 3 times a week or something like that. But as I started expanding and learning more, like, wow, I'm really talented about this. And people were complimenting me on and I'm like, to me, when I started working and I was so good at what I did, it wasn't any different than what I do at home. It was just like, I'm just used to managing things. It's all good. It's all good. But as I kept excelling, and then one day surpassed my husband, that at that time husband's salary, I don't believe he ever did anything to, make me think that he did not, that he was threatened by it. But I do know that I was conditioned to feel like, oh gosh, I want to keep downplaying it because I don't want him to feel this way. And so we are our own saboteurs. And so if we're apologizing for the money that we're making, or if we're apologizing for the talents we have, or we're apologizing for anything, even if we're apologizing that all we want to do is stay home and be a wife, homemaker, and I don't know what that.
Yeah.
Why are we apologizing? We're doing what we want to do. And if it's working for us and we're enjoying it and we're in our happy place, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
We're here to manifest from that kingdom inside of us.
Totally. Whew, I get goosebumps.
Don't
Yeah.
you just wish there were like 1,000 other women on this conversation?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think that I'll be cheering. Oh my God, I can do that. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we have to start noticing too when we start going, oh, am I okay? Minimizing ourselves rather than just, it's like thinking, well, you said something about, but it's about, it's not okay to be me. It's not trying to fit in. It's know that you already belong.
Yeah.
We belong in life. Now what? And like a tree or anything, I talk about the law of blooming all the time. We grow into more of who we are. And an avocado tree is not going to give oranges. Hello? And why should it? Be who you are and share who you are, because we all get to work together. But I think we are at the time where women are literally coming back, and I think they're calling it the return of the divine feminine, something like that. That's what some of the conversations out online are.
I mentioned that this past Sunday, I sat on my front porch and I enjoyed the space and everything.
Mhm.
And it wasn't real windy, but every once in a while the wind would just like kick up and the leaves were just blowing in the trees and everything. And I saw like little seeds from somewhere like flying down and landing in the yard and everything. And I remember thinking like, wow, because the wind blows, the trees move, and those little seeds are flying who knows where, everywhere. And it's nature doing what nature does best. So some little seed could fly way over across the lake here and land and bloom, and somebody would come by and go, wow, I wonder where that came from, because there's no trees around here like that, not knowing that the wind had taken it there. And my thought process about that was, if we allow ourselves to be swept where we need to be swept, just like, okay, this is where I'm flowing, this is where I'm going. I feel like that would be such a fantastic way for us to live our lives unapologetically. When someone says, what are you doing constructive today? I could say, I'm flowing, man. I'm letting everything go where it's meant to go. And unapologetically.
Do you know what? That's how life does. Life itself is growing unapologetically, and it's moving and flowing where it needs to go. We need to. I was thinking about that the other day and doing some they think called continuum movement, and we're always pushing our bodies to do what we think and look good, just suck it up and all that stuff. Instead of, I think we need to learn how to just be there and let them open up from the inside out. That's another kind of a way of exercising, undoing all the places where we clench and try to do right. Anyway, this is a big conversation. Thank you.
I have to have you do this on HeartLink.
You have to what?
Oh, are you talking about you, Donna, or me?
For you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bring up the
Yeah.
topic.
I'm
Please.
happy to share. Yeah, I'm happy to share because, it's like every time we start to think, and of course we have to be mindful of our thoughts, so am I apologizing for this? And, I just touched so briefly on the law of attraction and the law of gravity. And I actually did a short video on that earlier today, but we were never taught that the law of gravity is a punishment. We just
Right.
said, at somewhere along the line, we figured it out, like, okay, if I crawl across the couch and I topple off, I'm going to go down. And we learn not to do that. But we don't say, oh my gosh, I'm being punished because I did that. And for some reason, we kind of tend to blend the law of attraction and some deity in the sky judging us and telling us that if we don't follow all of these rules and regulations that we're going to be punished. And we learn to fear, and we wonder why we fear loving ourselves, why we fear being authentic, why we fear loving who we are and allowing everyone else to be who they want to be. Because it's not about one person being over another. It's about strength yielding to strength. Donna, you have had so much experience in theater and stage and Hollywood and the movies and TV. And like, I don't for 1 second stop and say, oh my gosh, I am so bad because I didn't do or can't do what Donna does. I mean, when we were working on that jingle the other day, and I was watching you, and I'm like, you were moving to each note, like each note was in your body, and I'm like, that's amazing. That's so amazing. But I appreciate that in you. I don't tell myself that there's something wrong with me because I can't do what you do, or that I'm wrong because I don't want to do what you do, or that you're wrong because you don't want to do what I do. And gosh, wouldn't it be so great if we could allow more of that for ourselves and for everyone we come into contact with? That would be amazing.
Maybe that's one of the things we do. We invite people to just bloom into who they are.
Yeah.
When we're in their presence, just go out and love people for that. And you know what? As we create our vision and we go out into the world, maybe we disqualify people that make us feel diminished.
Yeah, and
It's not that we don't love them, it's that we just don't spend time or energy with them. We just go, oh, well, that's an interesting point of view. Thank you for sharing. Next. And just have people around us that acknowledge our not just our greatness, but our ability to grow into all of who we can be.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you think back to the picture I shared of the beautiful soul in the black hat and the paint on. I'm like, oh gosh, that to me that just fills me up right here, and I'm like, that is a person living unapologetically. And if we could hold that vision in our minds,
yeah,
whenever we feel the need to apologize, if we could hold that vision and imagine ourselves with some colorful paint and a hat and just say, I'm not apologizing for anything. It'd be so cool. Yeah. So this has been such a lovely, lovely conversation. I appreciate you ladies for sharing this and showing up authentically and unapologetically. Thank you. Thank you. I am going to stop the recording for the rest of this conversation.